Here I have a Jauch grandfather clock movement, and I've been playing around with this movement for a couple of years. I bought this grandfather clock at a local auction. I was the only bidder. I paid $10 for it. Here is the case. It's a beautiful case, but because it has a Jauch movement in it, a lot of people do not like the Jauch movements. I've got cuckoo weights added to this thing so I can show you that it works. But on the quarter of the hour in other videos, I tell you on a Westminster chime clock, whether it starts back here, whether it starts up here, it should play 1, 2, 3, 4 in order. But this doesn't. And again, it could start back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm going to show you what to do to get it to play in order. I don't have the hands on this thing, so I'm rotating the dial. It's just got through playing a quarter of an hour. Here's the half hour. Again, I got cuckoo clock weights on it, and it's not enough weight. And it stops like it's supposed to. Here, that was a half hour. Here comes 3/4 of the hour. And it stops like it's supposed to. I'll show you later. There's a warning pin on this side for the chimes. There's a warning pin on this side for the strike. And currently that warning pin for the strike is being held into place by this silver lever that tab goes into. Here's the hour. This comes up, it drops down, freeing up that warning pin when it goes into this notch, and then it'll strike the hour. Again, because I got cuckoo clock weights on, I'm having to give it an extra tug. It wasn't quite there, but anyway, it struck the hour. Now, on the quarter of the hour, watch what happens. It's not going to strike 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, this long tab, the long section on this wheel here is for the hour. So the short section is for the quarter of the hour, then it's got a longer section for the half hour, then a longer section for 3/4 of the hour. But the long section has got to do with the wheel. And if your clock continues to chime or strike, this lever here is not going into the notch when the third wheel warning pin hits what it's supposed to hit. And if you follow this lever, I'm moving it, the third wheel warning pin is hitting that lever there. But this is a quarter of the hour. You see, it's not counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to show you what to do. This cam gear here that lines up with this gear here that makes the chimes work. Take the weight off, and in this case, weights. Now this is only for a Westminster chime system. However, if you have a triple chime system, put it in the Westminster chime mode and follow these instructions. You're going to loosen this screw, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and pull that wheel forward so it is not touching that gear. And so now all you have to do is activate the system and pull on the chain until it strikes 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be hard for me to do this by holding the camera, so I have the camera on my stand, and hopefully with my floor being the way it is, my camera don't come off my stand. But anyway, I'm going to lift the levers until I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I take that back. I'm going to rotate this wheel until I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I told you wrong. Rotating the little bitty wheel that activates the hammers. And because it's a Jauch movement, it can be a pain in the butt. There's a guy on eBay that sells a video that talks about, I gotta put my camera in a different spot. It looked like it was about ready to fall. There's a guy on eBay that sells a DVD that talks about what I'm telling you for free here. Normally the pinion gear is a little bit heavier, a little bit easier to get to. So, because it's harder to get to, I'm going to loosen the screw on this wheel, if I can find it. And then put the wheel that I told you to loosen back on. I don't have it tight. I should be able to rotate those gears. Like I said, the Jauch movements are a little bit trickier than the other clocks. If it was a different kind of clock, I'd already had this thing fixed. I'm rotating the wheel, and it should be coming up to 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I want to tighten that screw. So it doesn't, so it spins on the shaft now. And then because it just got through striking the quarter of the hour, that's where this front wheel comes into play. I told you that the long section is for the hour, and then the quarter section is for the quarter of the hour. The smaller section, is for the quarter of the hour. So, my lighting in here sucks. So, I want to tighten that screw. If I can find it again. Stand by and let me get some light so I can tighten that screw. So I think I got the screw tightened. Okay, but now you have to go through and you have to test it all over again. Because in the process of you moving that wheel in the back and tightening the wheel on the front, things might have moved. So you need to test it again. So in this case, I think I pushed the wheel too far back. So stand by and let me move the wheel out some. Here's the a tab that rides along another wheel that's part of this wheel, and you might have to play around with this wheel to get everything adjusted properly. Decided to bring this thing to my desk so I could show you more in detail what happens when the clock is done chiming and when it goes into warning, etc. There are two levers right here. They're curved levers. And you should be able to see those two curved levers now. When it's done striking, there's a pin on this wheel right here that those two levers catch. When it goes into warning, like I said, this metal lever here lifts those two levers out of the way. You should be able to see those levers moving out of the way. And then in this case, it would be the fourth wheel. The fourth wheel with warning pin will catch the bent tab that's on the end of this lever that goes into the movement. And then after this lever drops and it goes into warning because of the tabs, they're on the minute arbor with center wheel. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs in this case because it's a Westminster chime clock. As you can see, as the minute wheel rotates, it lifts up that metal lever here, and then the clock will go into warning. I'm just not strong enough today. If it's not going into warning, there's a screw right here that you would adjust to lift these levers up higher. But if you, because, let me just show you. There's two levers, okay, but one lever's got a metal tab on it that the other lever rides on. And so you only need to, raise this, loosen the screw and raise the outside lever, which in turn will lift the inside lever, and then you tighten that screw back up. And if it's not bypassing the inside lever, that means you have to lift the outside lever up more. You got to loosen the screw. To lift the outside lever up more. And then tighten that screw down. And then it should bypass the inside lever. But right now, it bypassed it, but right now, the fourth wheel warning pin is catching that tab, and it will continue to catch that tab until this drops. So after it drops, it will clear everything. Again, I just don't have enough strength in my hands today to and if this moved on you in the process, it's not going to clear anything. So let me adjust this off camera and then we'll get back to you. So I got this wheel set on the quarter of the hour. I got this lever catching the pin that I told you. It's got two brass levers that catch the pin. I loosened up this wheel again. I took it off. The way I took it off is I put a screwdriver after I loosened the screw, and I put it in, and it only went so far, and then I got out my side cutters, and I show this in other videos that because of the design, the tapered section will bring this wheel off. I'm not cutting it, I'm just using the pliers to take it off. I cleaned out the peg, I made sure the screw was loosened all the way, put it back on. So it catches the teeth, and again, because this brass lever is catching that pin, you can rotate this in the right direction, and it will make these levers move. So I'm looking for 1, 2, 3, 4. One, no, that's not it. One, 2, 3, and 4. And then you immediately want to tighten up that screw without moving that wheel or anything else. And hopefully when I trip this thing, it's going to I have to retighten these brass levers because I loosened them to catch the teeth where I wanted them to catch. So let me retighten the screws. And hopefully when I rotate this thing, see right now the teeth are caught. It's going into warning. And it's striking. And again, I got to use a lot of force on this thing. I'm going to see if I could do it on the side of my table. The hammer's getting in an awkward position. And that just got through striking the half hour. So this is 3/4 of the hour. And I want to show you something here in a second, but I'm going to finish doing what I'm doing. This is going to be the hour, and I'm not pulling on the strike weight, so and then this is going to be the 1/4 of the hour, what we were trying to get adjusted. And it's off again. I think part of the reason why it's off, and this clock would not chime, and the reason why is because the fan blade keeps touching the movement. The fan blade is loose, so I need to tighten that up. With me holding the wheel, you see how much the fan spins? It ain't supposed to do that. It is too loose. And so, it's not gonna, it's gonna strike really fast when the proper weights are on, and B, it's not gonna work right because the fan blade is gonna slide back and forth and touch the movement, causing resistance. So I gotta fix that. If you're careful, you take one of the nut, you take this nut off that the fan is next to on the movement, and you could take the fan out. It's so loose it came off the arbor, so I have to fix that. But anyway, you take a nut off and you separate the plate. And like I said, if you're careful, you can take the fan out. Now, you want to make sure you got enough clearance because you don't want to bend these tiny pivots. And to tighten up this fan blade, you got this middle piece right here. It was too far that way. All you had to do was push it down some. And then that middle piece goes into that slot right there. And so I pushed it down, putting the blade back in, and now it spins, but it doesn't continue to rotate. And so I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit more. You don't want to get crazy because you can break that off. It's not tight enough for me. It got loose. So I'm going to push it down some more. And I'm fine with that. It turns about half to 3/4 of a turn. If it continues to spin, you got issues. And now the band is not going to slide and hit the plate. And as you can see, the fan is no longer hitting the plate. It's got plenty of clearance between it and the plate. Here's what the stamp looks like. Like I said, it's a Jauch. It's probably made in 1977. I'm not for sure. The heavier weight always goes on the chime side. Let me see if I can get this camera positioned right. I've got an actual weight on it. This is going to be the hour. And a lot of times after you get through oiling a movement, sometimes it might take a day or so for the oil to get where it needs to be. And that's why clock repair people keep a movement for a week or two to make sure it's going to function properly. And this is going to be the 1/4 of the hour, and you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4 in order. And it stops. I found let's say you have a hammer that is backed up a little bit. I find it's easier to put your finger inside the movement so the wheels don't move, and then loosen the screw up, move it out of the way, rotate this until that last hammer falls back, and then put this wheel here that you moved out of the way back in place, and then test it again to make sure it's going to work properly. And then again, this section right here is the hour. This small section here is let me get a wooden stick. People could see things better if I'm using a wooden stick. This section right here is the hour. This little section is a 1/4 of an hour from this notch to this notch. And then it's the half hour, 3/4 of the hour, and then the hour. And so Again, Jauch movements can be a little bit tricky to adjust, but if you use these simple guidelines that I showed you, whether it's Westminster chime or a triple chime, if it's a triple chime movement, put it on Westminster chimes and then look for the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the quarter of the hour. You have to find out. First thing you're going to want to do is make sure that those two levers that catch that pin these two levers that catch this pin on this wheel is A, catching the pin when it stops chiming, and B, move out of the way when the clock goes into warning. If they're not moving out of the way, you loosen the screw. I'm going to turn my camera around so I can see my camera. Sorry, as I was saying, these two brass levers right here that catch the pin when it's done striking, if they're not moving out of the way after the clock comes out of warning, you have to loosen this screw, keeping your fingers on this lever right here, and that way you can bring those two brass levers out of the way, and only enough just so it clears that pin so it could chime, and then you tighten that screw up. And this piece right here slides all the way to the left. If you got it too far to the right, remember I was telling you there's only one actual lever that is attached to the screw, and that's the lever on the right, and it has a tab to lift the lever on the left. So this piece has to go all the way to the left, and once you get that adjusted, and the fourth wheel warning pin, it doesn't catch this tab when it's done striking. It only catches that tab that comes off of this lever that goes into the movement when it goes into warning. And once this drops, once this lever here drops, and again, it is activated by the minute arbor with center wheel and those 4 tabs that's on it. Once that lever drops, that warning pin gets out of the way to allow the governor pin to turn and for it to chime. But if you if you don't have a proper sequence, and if you're watching it and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, you would stop it from striking. You loosen the screw that's on this cam right here, and then you would turn it until it went into the quarter of the hour, and then you would tighten it back up. And remember, you don't want to bring it too far out because there's a wheel on this cam, and you should be able to see it now, this wheel right here that lifts up this lever here to start things in motion. But keeping your fingers inside after you get those things adjusted, loosen the screw on this, move it out of the way, rotate this wheel until it goes in sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, and then holding this wheel, line this wheel back up with this wheel, and then tighten up that screw. Sounds really confusing, but it's really with practice, it's not that confusing. And again, there's a warning pin over here on the strike. If your strike isn't striking on the hour, more than likely that warning pin, more than likely this lever right here has not dropped to allow that warning pin clearance to allow it to spin to strike. I hope this helps. I hope you're not confused. Again, this spring right here, the original spring was messed up, so I added this spring. The only thing that spring does is drop this lever. Even though it should be gravity dropped, the spring, just like in a regular cuckoo clock movement that has the rack stop lever, they add a spring so it goes down faster. And that's the only thing this spring does. It allows this lever here to drop faster. Another thing that you have to adjust on these movements is this lever right here. As you can see, it's bypassing the pin, and all you have to do is rotate it one way or the other, okay? And it shouldn't be that easy to move, but you're going to have to find the 12 o'clock. I just noticed something, and I don't like what I'm seeing. This shaft is bent. That's a bummer. Now I got to take this clock apart to straighten out this shaft. But, the whole purpose of this video is to explain to you how to synchronize the chime and strike on a Jauch movement. Do you see this? It shouldn't do that. The shaft, the minute arbor, is bent. I might be able to straighten it out without taking it apart, but I doubt it. It's just my luck. But as you can see, I got these marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so at this section right here, which is a 7, I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and mark that, and that's where I would adjust this until it fell into the 7 spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. which is right there, and then I would push this up to hit the 7. And so it should strike 7 times right there. But I'm going to have to straighten this shaft out before I can put this movement into the case. And when I do that, the reason why I don't want to take this movement apart, everything I just did, I'm going to have to do it all over again if I have to take this movement apart. So, like I said, there's a DVD out that explains what I just told you. It's on eBay for like $69, $65. I don't remember. But I just gave you some free advice, and I hope this helps. If it does help you, please leave me some comments. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel. And not only just my channel, but to all the channels that I mentioned in the beginning of this video. And may God bless each and every one of you.